I had run into a post about their boyfriend of 3 or 4 years not giving affection anymore and saying, oh,
Hmm.
all you want to do is have sex, and, her begging for affection. So
Hmm.
I thought that was an interesting post.
That is an interesting post. And again, we talked about that last week, where if one person is not feeling it, it's really hard on the person who's feeling it. And that's where we talk about scheduling your success.
What if they don't want to work with you?
Well, there's nothing you can do about it. If they don't want to work with you, now it's on to you whether or not you're going to stay invested in this, because the integrity of the relationship has shifted, which happens. Integrities of relationships do shift. Sometimes they can be very romantic and then they end up being more like brother and sister over time. And there's no romance. There's, a sexless marriage. And it happens. And the situation is this going to be a marriage, or is this going to be the integrity of our relationship, but it's not really a marriage? So then that's where the values come in, and we have to have conversations about, well, what defines a marriage? Is it commitment? People talk about better
Yeah.
or for worse. Well, this is it. This is what it means to better or for worse. You're going to be in a sexless marriage, and other people will say, well, that's not the kind of worst I meant. What you mean? What were you agreeing to for better or for worse?
Well, is it okay if I stay with this man just for the money? But then again, if you agreed on that, then, if that's your agreement between two people.
Right. Well, that's really popular right now, the whole thing about money. There's a big thing going on, big movement right now. I'm not sure if you're familiar. I might throw out a term you're unfamiliar with, but it's sugar babies. Have you heard of
Oh,
this?
I know sugar daddies.
Exactly. Well, sugar babies are people who are happy having sugar daddies. They have multiple sugar daddies. They don't just even have one. Some will have one if they pay lots and lots of money. And it starts out where those relationships could have like sex involved, though it's not real prostitution. It's almost like marriage where you're paying for your wife, or girlfriend. But you pay handsomely, but it's real
Yeah.
interesting. And it's a big thing, it's really a big thing. And most people that are using it are the older people, like my age or whatever. They would get people who are like 18 and 21 or 30 or whatever, and they call them sugar babies. And these people are, women are just very happy to have that kind of support, get them through school, you know, offset what's going on. But a lot of people are having pretty good unemployment checks right now. So maybe the whole sugar daddy phenomena might be waning a little bit, or sugar baby phenomena. But it's a thing, and they can't really police it. It's not like officially prostitution, because you're kind of dating, even
Right.
though it's given that you're going to be paying. Somehow there's going to be some kind of payment. It's just like, you want to date me, this is what it's going to take, you know, especially if you're older or you're in a relationship. I mean, you could be married, whatever. And people are having like these casual sugar daddy, sugar baby relationships. So how's everything on your end? How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. I've just
Good.
made a video about you talking about triggers and relationships, like you were saying,
Nice.
scheduling meetings, like a team every weekly meetings.
You know what? You want a great term? I use it all the time. You ready? I call them success meetings.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Yes, I
really
love it.
good term. You don't want to just call them meetings. You want to call them success meetings, because you're there to support your success and the success of the relationship and your success in supporting someone else's success. So it can't just be about your success, but it can be about success about your partner or success about the relationship. And so having success meetings is like, well, what do you think we need? What's your contribution to our successful relationship? And it's important for people to be able to distinguish between what they think the relationship needs and what it is that they believe they need. I think our relationship needs you fulfilling all of my needs. And it's like, no, it doesn't
Right.
work that
Yeah,
way.
like you were saying, the peanut butter. I
Right.
mean, chocolate
Exactly.
milk, chocolate milk.
Same thing. You got it. No, you peanut butter and jelly, chocolate milk, you got it. The integrity of chocolate milk is very, very unique, just like the integrity of strawberry milk is very unique. But the integrity of strawberry, chocolate, and milk are all so different. But when you have that chemical reaction, now we're dealing with the integrity of strawberry milk or chocolate milk. And we're no longer dealing with the integrity of strawberry, the integrity of milk, you know?
Correct. Well, and then I also had some other things to talk about because
Let's
this came up in the groups also about jealous spouses in a marriage situation. How do you handle that in a marriage situation? Because if you're dating, then you can step away. But then again, if you're married and you've got, let's say you've got a child, then it becomes tricky.
It's tricky no matter what. Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. Not all instincts are right. Sometimes we have our own wounds from maybe in a past relationship where we did get that sense of betrayal. You understand? Or where we feel violated because our partner stepped out on us and we've never quite healed that. We've never gotten over it. Like we're always scarred from that. But then
Yeah.
there are also times when we can tell that our man or our woman is someplace else. Like they're not there emotionally. There's some kind of competition. Houston, we have a problem here.
Yeah.
But just feeling that there's a problem does not necessarily mean there is a problem. But I mean, I could tell you so many stories in working with couples through all these years that blows my mind. And the biggest thing that blows my mind is how many secrets couples can keep from themselves while talking with me and trying to be vulnerable and get everything out. And then you find out years later that they were having an affair the whole time. I mean, it's absolutely mind boggling. And it's like, you spent all this time, all this money, and all this energy, and you never got real about the fact that you had somebody on the side. And so it's very, very difficult when you're having these kinds of, dynamics going on because you don't know if your partner really has somebody or if they don't. You don't know. And you might suspect that he or she does, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he or she does. And so then you end up having these conversations to work it out. And then you find out through the conversations that there's no accountability. They don't, they want to talk about minutia, really just ridiculous, like superficial things and never really get to the core of it. And, that's a big issue. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask this. What about a partner that says, because this was a question, I've been reading all these groups. My partner's asking me, are you attracted to so-and-so? And now I would say attraction's not a sin. You can be attracted to people. It's whether you move on. I mean, if you act on it, then
Act
it
on it.
becomes a
Right.
problem, right?
Right.
So, I
Right.
mean, what would be the answer to that person that says, what do I tell my partner when he says or she says, are you attracted to that person?
All right, I'm going to go into something here that a lot of people don't like, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's called DEFCON 4 of honesty. And what DEFCON 4 of honesty is that you have to be honest with yourself about who you're talking to. You don't you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You
Mhm.
don't incriminate yourself if you know that somebody you're talking to is not going to understand what
Yeah.
you're saying, and that it's not honest to just tell them whatever it is that you feel is honest that you want to tell them, knowing that they're going to misinterpret, misunderstand, not get it. And
Yeah.
so part of being honest is recognizing what your partners can or cannot comprehend. Now, I get in a lot of trouble with this from people who like tell me the truth, all the truth, and nothing but the truth. And it's like, well, the truth is subjective. And people will go, no, it's not. And so I have this amazing analogy saying during the Inquisition, if there were some Jews hiding for their lives and somebody decided that they were going to hide the Jews under the bed, for instance, a whole family of Jews, and all of a sudden somebody came knocking on the door and said, hey, you got anybody in here? You by yourself? What are you going to say? I want to be honest. I got somebody, I'm hiding Jews under the bed because it's the right thing to do. Well, if you were to say that truth because it's true,
Yeah.
then they get shot, you get shot, and everybody's dead. So what was the point? So the idea of hiding the Jews under the bed is that you want to save them. So when somebody who means to do harm is going, hey, anybody in here? The honest answer is no. That's the honest answer, because that's DEFCON 4 of honesty. If you're going to go, well, I really do have Jews hiding under the bed. Let me tell them, let's be honest. I don't want to lie. It's like, well, why did you hide them in the first place? You hid them to save their life. How are you saving their life? I mean, if you're going to try to save their life, you got to go the full distance, You're going to have to say no, because you're going to get shot if you tell them, yeah, I'm hiding Jews under the bed. Absolutely. I voluntarily put them there. Forget it. You're dead. So DEFCON 4 of honesty is just about that. just to say something because you know that you know that you know you're being honest as far as what you're talking about doesn't mean that who you're talking to is able to comprehend, hear that, follow that. You got to get honest with yourself about what someone can or cannot hear. And we don't do that in our relationships. We
Uh,
just want people to understand us completely. And so we'll just throw anything out and everything out with the hopes that maybe he or she will get it. And if they don't, it's a communication issue on their end. Well, what about your end? You know, why don't you communicate more effectively? Why don't you know your partner so well that you can communicate effectively and stop overshooting the conversation where they can't follow you? You get it? It's a tricky, tricky thing because everybody's being so true to themselves that they're not really being true to the relationship again. And like, what can she or he actually hear and respond well to? That's important to respect that.
okay. Yeah, that's very important. I mean, because you're right. People are like, you've got to tell the truth. I want you to tell me the truth. And then they just dig. I mean, in relationships, like I've had boyfriends that would dig and dig and dig for the truth. Oh, what were you doing with that guy? Or
Right.
whatever.
If a guy is insecure, he's going to ask, are you attracted to so and so? And if you're going to go, well, yeah, I am attracted to so and so. It's like, I knew it. It's like, what? No, what are you talking about? I would never do anything. He's cute. He's a nice guy. He's handsome. He's got a nice body on him. I mean, yeah, I could tell. It's like, so why would you go there if it's almost predictable that if you being honest because you're attracted to him is going to create such a reaction and facilitate such insecurity and just victimizing kind of content, where if you can get honest, you'd be like, I mean, no, I'm not attracted to him. Certainly not that way. I mean, he's a nice person and everything, but no, not attracted to him. I mean, no. I mean,
All right, well, let me be the other person. What do you
okay.
mean? I'm sure you're attracted to someone else besides me.
Not the way you're implying. I mean, there are a lot of quote unquote handsome people. Are we talking about famous people? Because there are a lot of people. I think a lot of actors and actresses are nice. Are you feeling insecure about actors or actresses or some neighbor that lives around the block that I don't even talk to? Who do I think, beauty is only skin deep. You want me to tell you how hollow I am and what physical features I think represents beauty? This is pathetic. I mean, really. And why would that even matter to you? I'm not going to act on it. What if I told you that I think beautiful is somebody who's fat, bald, got chicken pox all over his face, and I just think that's absolutely beautiful? Then you won't feel intimidated. Who do you think is beautiful that makes you intimidated that you were worried that I might be attracted to? Let me ask you that question. Who do you think is a threat to your, but masculinity or a threat to your, whatever you want to call it, male dominance? I mean, no, no, no. Do you want me to be attracted to others? Do you want me to start looking with those eyes? Are you looking with those eyes? Are you asking because you're attracted to people outside of me and you're feeling guilty and so you're trying to make sure it's okay? I mean, I don't even understand the questioning. Do you think my eyes are wandering? Do you catch me looking at other people like, oh, what it would be like to have sex with that guy? Is that what you're thinking? Is that are you catching me doing something like that? Tell me, where are these coming from? Are you just amazingly insecure? Or are we just trying to stir something up? I mean, where is this coming from? I mean, unless there really is, if that guy has some instincts or that woman has some instincts and there is something going on. And, again, DEFCON 4 of honesty, they're not going to admit that, well, I am looking at somebody. They're going to have to clean up their act because the gig is up. I mean, you're not getting away with it. You're not doing a really good job. You better clean up your act while you're being honest that you're not attracted to somebody else. But if you're thinking you're going to get away with it because, oh, I told him or her that I'm not attracted so I can keep on going. It's like, he or her was already on to you, dude. If he or she is already on to you, your words are not going to help. There's something going on. You're putting out a vibe and he or she is picking it up and you've been told that and you're lying, being DEFCON 4 of honesty, and you're not making any kind of modifications and changes and now you're a victim of a relationship, of a loveless marriage. It's like, duh, of course you're in a
Well, yeah,
relationship.
and I think also that when you're putting that in your partner's mind, maybe they didn't ever think of looking at that person that way. Because
Right,
then you're
exactly.
bringing that to the table, like, oh, well, let me take a look and see if he's attractive or she's attractive.
Right.
You know?
But we do project. You need to know that. That's a scary human quality that we project. So there are things we may be doing, and then we might feel guilty. And then because we're doing it, we start to suspect that maybe our partner is doing it. It's really wild how that works. And that is integrity too. Because we're doing it, we assume that other people are doing it as well, or we're thinking a certain way, or we have certain abilities. We assume that other people are thinking that way or actually have those abilities. And that's true about strengths. Sometimes we'll have a strength in something and then we won't recognize it as a strength in us. And we're thinking that somebody else just doesn't give a damn. And it's like, no, he or she doesn't have that same strength that you have. You're assuming that he or she can be as compassionate or as loving or as open as you are, but it's a strength of yours. Just because you can do it doesn't mean I can. That's projection. That's a big issue.
What do you think is easier, working with single, like one partner, or both partners?
I don't think it really matters. Honestly, I think it really is it's about how the level of openness, the level of honesty, the level of vulnerability. That's why I like to work with people one-on-one and with couples. Sometimes I like to do one-on-one first. I think it really helps to build rapport. But I got to tell you, it is fascinating when you work one-on-one with somebody first, and then you work like when couples and he or she was complaining about the other one, but in their presence, it's like not a problem in the world, like goody two shoes, nothing's wrong. Like, I don't even know why we're doing this. I have no idea. In couples, I have no idea why we're even having this. I don't know if we even need this. And I'm
And
like,
then what do you say?
nothing there. But on the next one, you can bet they're going to get an earful. I'm going to like, you never mentioned any of these concerns that you mentioned to me when it's one-on-one. And I actually do know what that's about because they don't want to be accountable for it. They know that if they mention it, then they're going to hear their role in all this. Like, there is a couple that I've worked with where I worked with her exclusively for well over 5 years before he started coming. And the very first session when he came and he was so open, she was so triggered. That was the worst session she and I ever had, was the one where her husband showed up for the first time in 5 years. And I never saw that side of her. So all that time I was working with her, it was like, he's the problem, he's the problem, he's the problem, he's the problem. One session, and I got to observe how differently she shows up when he's in the room talking to me. It's fascinating. And so as a coach, that's amazingly valuable because people don't even know that they're doing it. They really don't. They're just like, you come to me, you're Mariquita, you're talking to me as Mariquita. You come to me and you're Mariquita and James, you think you're talking to me as Mariquita, but you're not. You're talking to me with this dynamic that you've got,
Yeah.
this interplay, whatever your challenges you're going through between you and James. And if it's adversarial or you're fighting for some kind of position or dominance, you'd be surprised how much you would telegraph that while you're sitting with me because you don't want to show off. And I've heard this plenty of times where they're just leaving. Session was great. Fantastic session. I'm going, that was awesome. And in the car, one person is saying to the other person, you are so phony. You're so full of shit. I can't believe how you show up for Dr. Michael. Why don't you, what, you scared to show him the real side of you?
Yeah.
This happens a lot. And so you have to go through this process. Like I said, 5 years before it comes out that you're having an affair. I mean, I've had sessions where, no joke, we're having a session to save the marriage on Tuesday, and someone served divorce papers on Thursday. No mention whatsoever that I'm thinking about divorcing you. As a matter of fact, I've already got the lawyer. You're going to be served in a couple of days, and having a coaching session, couples coaching session. This is where you got to recognize that you have your own agenda, your own controlaholism, and it's really not safe to be in a relationship with you, and you need to be responsible for that. If you're being that manipulative, where you can have a couples session on Tuesday and then file for divorce on Thursday, papers and all, that's like, wow. I mean, seriously, you need to look closely at that. Now, you might try to justify that, and you can. Hell, you could even call it DEFCON 4 of honesty. But let's talk about it, because I can certainly go there with you. Tell me why. I want to hear something. Help me make this make sense. Give me something, and it'll come up. he's emotionally abusive, or she's emotionally abusive, or she's physically abusive, or he's physically abusive. Then you find out that's not really the case, that there's something else going on, that people want to live alternate lives, and they start to come up with these ideas that prove themselves to be fruitless, and it's like, wow, fascinating. And that's when you got to like look in the mirror and go, well, look what I'm trying to get away with. I'm really the evil one here. I want to, I'm trying to take, I'm a piranha, I'm just trying to take more, 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 like a parasite, just want, me. I'm not really willing to give. It's all about me looking out for myself.
You being the one that's serving the papers.
Could be. It could be. Not necessarily. There's some people who finally can stand up for themselves, especially in abusive relationships. There are a lot of people who would have a divorce or file for divorce, especially women. Not so much now, because we're smarter now. We're more empowered as a culture. But there would used to be like, oh no, it's only going to make matters worse. Besides, I'm the problem. Classic abuser, where they feel like, well, he's getting mad at me because I am blah, 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 blah. It's all this psychic stuff that, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, that it's really your fault, but you're really married to a controlaholic, But if they're willing to do the work, it, we feel it, you feel it. It's not like, if somebody's doing the work one day and then having a divorce the next, filing for or having a session, like they're trying to really get honest and make this whole thing work, and what they're really trying to do is manipulate their life, that they're actually having an extramarital affair at the same time that they're doing coaching. I mean, that blows my mind. I mean, really,
that happen a lot?
I wouldn't say a lot, but it definitely is seasonal. I can tell you that. It definitely, when it happens once, I look out for it. I know it's coming again. It's weird how stuff is seasonal. It's weird how it's seasonal where, and I've noticed this, where women will step out more than men, where women are getting the love. It doesn't happen that much, but when it happens, it's like, hey, guys, pay attention, bring some flowers, do something, your girl, your wife is getting some attention, and she's liking it because you ain't giving her any attention, and she's going to DEFCON 4 of entertaining that affection and that attention because you're taking her for granted or whatever. I did this on the radio one time when that was really up, because I was noticing it, and I was like, hey guys, and it was around Valentine's Day too. So of course I wanted to do a couples thing, and women are admitting to me that they're having an affair or looking or considering an affair. And it was like, and I have more women than guys. And so when you hear that, it's like, wow. So of course hey, Francis, are you okay? Because there's something in the air. I'm not a joke. It's not a joke. I mean, this stuff, it's seasonal. I mean, it really is. I mean, yes, women have their own little clocks, right? Monthly clocks, but other clocks too, 7 years, But you got to pay attention to those signs, like I do as a facilitator. I pay attention. I go, wow, it's stepping out season. What is it about now that's causing this? And it could be Valentine's Day is coming, and he's going to really not appreciate me yet again. And that hurts. Like I may not even get flowers or a card, nothing. Like he's not even courting me at all. And so that brings it up to DEFCON 3 and DEFCON 4, the pain. And then all of a sudden somebody else says, you're shopping at a supermarket, and a stranger is looking at you, and you're like, oh my God, guys, I can't believe, guys, even a supermarket, you're trying to pick up women at a supermarket, right? And then you can scratch your head and go, God bless men, right? And you can file that away until it's that season. And all of a sudden you're not getting the attention. And all of a sudden you're like, someone's attracted to me. I'm not used to that. I like this. I like the attention. And so you talk and you flirt, and it sounds like it's safe until it's not, right? Hey, can I get your number? Just friends. I see the wedding ring on your finger. Just friends. I just think, you're a real interesting person. I'd like to get to know you better. It's like, probably better not. But probably not good idea. All right, how can I look you up on Facebook? All right, yeah, I guess that's safe. Boom, done. Facebook, there it is. Hey, how many affairs start on Facebook or Instagram?
God, yeah.
A lot, really, seriously.
I believe it. Yeah, that's very simple.
Yeah.
Very, easy.
It is simple. It is simple.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It seems like these conversations with the relationships are like a very tricky web there,
Well, they are tricky, but they're easy to navigate once you know the rules. Now,
I need to know
the rules are really important, like where you have to be responsible for your own greaterness. You can't just be responsible for yourself. That's boring, and it's not going to get you better results. But most relationships, he is looking at her for the things that she needs to do to enhance the relationship from his perspective. And then she's frustrated about the things he's not doing that she wishes he would do or stop doing in order to enhance the relationship. And no matter how accurate that is, it is a horrible strategy to how to improve a relationship. It's more about what can you do? What version of you can you bring? Can you bring a greater lover to your relationship? And I don't just mean like making love techniques and
Yeah,
prowess.
yeah.
I'm not talking about the art of the orgasm. I'm talking about like where you really are an endearing partner, where you can get off your own soapbox in order to stand under someone else's truth, where it's not a threat to your own truth because you cease to be because you're an amazing lover. You get that?
Yeah, and then also when someone's willing to tell you their triggers and all, that's a very vulnerable place, and to really think about the respect there, you know?
Right. Well, you could tell when they're going there. Like I'm saying, it doesn't surprise me when I do find out that there are relationships where someone's not being honest with me about having an extra, outside the relationship. And it never really ever surprises me. It's like energetically, I'm like, yeah, all right. So she was here on Tuesday and filed for divorce on Thursday. Yep, I get it. Yep. It kind of makes sense. It really does. Energetically, it makes sense. I never really saw like, I'm here to find out what I can do to make myself a better person to, you know, bring my marriage to the next level. Very few people really do that. But the more you do that, the more I kind of feel that's the vulnerability where it's like, hi, I'm here to really want to improve
Uh-uh.
myself. And that's that. And that's a big one. But the
Well,
more
that is
that
a big one.
it is, and the more that people make it their partner is their problem, the more they're not looking in the mirror, to be
You're
honest.
right. I mean, it is about how can I improve myself so the relationship can grow.
Absolutely. When you improve yourself, no joke, I am not kidding. The partner's going to matter less. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but the more you work on yourself, the more it matters less. The more you can, and I'm not
Wait
recommending
a minute,
this,
wait. The more you work on yourself, the more what matters less?
your partner, who your partner is, his
Oh,
his qualities,
oh.
his challenges, because of course they never talk about his strengths, right? You know, it's not like his strengths matter less, but his whatever you want to call them, deficits, his blind spots, his whatever character defects, they matter less because you've developed your own character, which makes you a very safe person to relate to because now he or she doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because none of us are, right? We know that theoretically, but we don't live making it safe for our partner to be clearly not perfect. I don't want him or her to be perfect. I just don't want him or her to do this. It's like, yeah, and we hit that one, and then there's another this, and then there's another this, and then there's another this. And it's not to say that there isn't some points to this. I'm just saying it's a horrible point of focus. We can get to it secondary, maybe even tertiary, but I see people wanting to go to it primarily, like as if it's the way the what do they call the icebreaker into coaching with Dr. Michael. I was like, no, it doesn't work that way. That's the worst first step. So, all right. Anyway, it was great talking with you. Till next time.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.